Hi everybody, this is Jan and I'm doing this video for my grandchildren, my children, my great-grandchildren, and whoever comes after, and anyone else who is interested in watching. Today I'm going to talk about hostas that are heirloom hostas, and that I'm going to dig and starts for my 3 granddaughters that now have homes, and they want starts of my hosta that I have from our farm, and they were originally from my great-grandparents owned the farm, and my great-grandmother had planted all the hostas, and she had them on the west side of the house, but the sun didn't hit them because there was an orchard right next door. So when my sisters and I all had our own homes, we all took starts of the hostas. Then we moved to other homes, we took the hostas with us, or at least starts. So it's kind of fun to, when my granddaughter said, "Grandma, can we have starts of your hostas?" And so I'm giving them the starts of this hosta, which is called Aphrodite or August lily. The August lilies, they bloom in August, and they are a very good smelling hosta, the best, I think. But there's other hostas that I'm going to give them starts of that are ones that I have, and I have quite a few different styles of hostas. So right now I'm going to do the starts of the Aphrodites and dig them up and put the starts in a pot for them so they can I'll get a good start for them, and then they can plant them late August, and they can start growing in their flower beds. They will have to plant them at least 6 weeks before the first frost. Now they're going to be in pots and already started, so if they get a little late in planting them, then that's okay, because anything that's in a pot and has a good start in a pot, you can plant anytime. But we'll see how this is going to work out, and I will get them some starts here. I've got, these are smaller starts here that I'm going to get. They're better to start them smaller. And I'll get this down here, and I'm going to dig them up. Got to get it deep and pull it up. The ground is pretty wet right now because we've had a lot of rain, so it's a good time to do this. Okay. Now, I've got a bucket of potting soil here that I've dumped my pots out in the spring when I go to repot. Some of the soil I dump out, but I don't dump my pots out completely. I usually leave some in the bottom and then put the new soil on top, and then fertilize. But here, we're going to put this in here and get these started. Then after we get done here, I'll water. I think that's too much. Okay, now here, I'm going to separate this down here, if I can. Here, I've got this handy little tool with the jag on the side. I think that was a loud truck going by. Some of them get pretty loud. There. We'll fill it in. And this little guy will get a good start. And got some more of these planned on the north side of the house. Then I'm going to take a start or two out for the girls too, because this is a small start and I'll get a little bigger start, so they have at least two plants. But I wanted to show you what I line my pots with. I have paper towels that sometimes I go to pull them off and I might have something on them, and so I just take the rest of the paper towels, use them for liners. Sometimes I use coffee filters. You can use most anything to keep the soil from going out of the holes. So that's what I use, is the paper towels that are almost used up. Okay, now this one here, see, I'm going to get another one out of here, but I take my little handy tool here and slice this off. There. Several years ago, a gal in our garden club, she had one of these, and she'd got it here in town, and she told me about it, and I went and bought one, and it is very handy. And you can put this around a weed, go down and get it around the weed and just pull it up, and this will open a bag of soil or whatever, and then this will just cut it. So it's a handy tool, and I say, if you can find one, get one. It's a suggestion, but it works very good. There you go. I'll water these after we're done. Okay, here's one here. Whoops, get this cord in there. It's been real windy, that's why we're doing this cord, and hopefully the birds don't come in here like they're chirping out there, but hopefully it'll go okay. Okay, there you go. I got 3 starts, and then later on I'm going to take 3 more starts from one on the north side of the house that I have. But this is the way I take starts of hostas. They're easy. They're really easy. Probably the easiest thing. Now, right here, I think you can see this hydrangea, and I notice it needs some fertilizer, so I'm going to fertilize it here later on this evening. But the leaves aren't a very dark green, and they should be a greener. They're a little yellow, but I have lots of blooms down here. This is a macrophylla, and it's an old hydrangea, and I don't know, probably I had it at our other home when we moved 21 years ago, and we had lived there 33 years, and the hydrangea was at my back step, and every year it'd have a couple blooms on it, and so it just started spreading out, and I would take little starts off of it. I've even started starts propagated. I've propagated some too. I probably gave away 30 some starts to it, and I've probably got about 8 of these out here, and they don't always get very many blooms on them because they do bloom on old wood. But this year I've got so many more blooms on them, and I think it was because of our winter, the temperature. We had snow here, a big snow. We had cold. We had a warm spell. Then we had cold, and I think everything loved it, and I lost nothing, and it was just, everything's so wonderful. And I've got all these blooms here, and it's just hard for me to believe usually I have 2 blooms on this bush, but I've got all these, and they're this pink, this big pink, and there's some around the other side too. I was talking to a landscaper friend of mine, and I was telling her, sometimes I just don't have hardly any blooms on them, but she said, but look at it this way, the leaves are gorgeous. It's pretty, and I've got some on the north side, I've got some on the east side. But they take a lot of water. Now, ones on the north side don't, but the ones on the east side, I water them just about every day when I water my pots, because the leaves start looking wilted and the flowers look wilted. But you water them and they all just in a couple hours, seems like they come back. But they are beautiful. They're probably my favorite hydrangea, next to the limelight and all that. But they dry. You can dry these. I dry these and use them in arrangements in the fall for our art show at our library. And these you don't pick to dry until they're papery, till they get kind of papery. Then you can pick them, but you got to pick them at the right time. You take a small stem down to the node, then you put it in like a little glass of water with about half an inch of water. Stick it in there. I have hydrangeas in my closets and everything. You put them where it's dark. And if you got a dark room or something, you can put them in. Or I use closets sometimes, my closets. But they will soak up the water, absorb the water, and then they finish dry, and they're beautiful. They don't really keep the complete color, but they have a little tinge of color with them. And then I use, when I put them in arrangements and on wreaths and stuff for the houses, I have that designer paint from, I get it at Michael's, and I know florists use it a little bit on a lot of times on their hydrangeas or something, just a little bit of it, and brings out the color and they've got every color you want. I probably got, I don't know how many cans of paint down the basement. But anyhow, that's how you dry those. And they do dry beautiful, but you got to pick them at the right time if you don't. The ones that I find that don't dry nice are endless summer. They don't dry, I can't get them to dry nice. But of course your limelights and all those, they dry easy. You just pick them when they're starting to dry. You don't pick them when they're damp, because they'll just curl right up. But you pick them when they're papery, hang them up, and they dry. So I think that's all for today. But we'll talk about more hostas later, and I'll show you my hydrangeas later. Have a good day.